On Global Television News Express, defense ministers condoles with President Tinubu over the demise of Chief of Army Staff. Secretary General of the Federation reaffirms President Tinubu's commitment to socio-economic growth. In business, federal government signs memorandum of understanding with Chinese firm for local production of HIV diagnostic kits. On the foreign scene, Kamala Harris concedes defeat, calls for unity. And in sport, Al Hilal Mohamed Salah and Cristiano Ronaldo as Neymar's replacement. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Niconsat. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, has reaffirmed President Bola Tinubu's administration's commitment to the socio-economic growth of the country. Akume stated these during the distribution of the start-up kits to 689 graduates of the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission Youth Transformation Program in Benue State. The SGF was represented by the Chief of Staff, Simeon Tungu, highlighted various government initiatives, including a youth vocational training program, which he described as life-changing. He explained that the program had its grand launch in Minna, Niger State, with the distribution of 365 startup kits to graduates, followed by a similar distribution in Jos, Plateau State. The Defense Headquarters has confirmed the emergence of a new terrorist group known as Lokarawas in the northwestern part of the country. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, disclosed this while briefing newsmen on military operations in Abuja. He stated that the new terror group originated in the Republic of Niger after the recent coup, which disrupted military collaboration between Nigeria and Niger, explaining that the terrorists began infiltrating northern areas of Sokoto and Kebbi states from the Niger Republic and Mali. The Minister of Defense, Abubakar Baduru, and his counterpart, Bello Matawali, have condoled with President Bola Tinubu over the demise of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who passed away on Tuesday night. Samuel Odi has the details.
The Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaru, described the death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja, as tragic and a great loss to the nation. He described the late Chief of Army Staff as a gallant officer and a warrior who served in so many theaters and performed credibly at service. Badaru prayed for the repose of Lieutenant General Lagbaja's soul.
He was a gallant officer, very, very hardworking. He was indeed a warrior. He has served in so many theaters and have done commendably well. It's a very sad loss for the country. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to receive him.
Also, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawali, lured the courage service to the nation. He described Lieutenant General Lagbaja as a great loss and condoled with his family and the nation.
He's a gallant officer and it's a great loss to this nation, and all we can say is to God to bless the family, and we assure Nigerians that we'll continue praying for the demise of Lagbaja, and we sending our condolences to the family of the deceased and Mr. President, because it's a great loss to this nation.
The acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, expressed regret following the death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja.
The entire Nigerian army is actually in a very sorrowful mood, having lost our leader, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. This was someone that gave his all to Nigeria. He was a selfless leader. then I want to enjoin Nigerians. For someone that have given all to Nigeria, we need to celebrate him. So in that, I think I want Nigerians to actually celebrate him for the good job he did while alive.
President Bola Tinubu had on Wednesday rescheduled the Federal Executive Council meeting to a yet-to-be-announced date to mourn the late Chief of Army Staff. Initially scheduled for today, the council meeting was postponed in honor of Lieutenant General Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff who passed away on Tuesday night. After announcing the postponement at the council chamber, Vice President Kashim Shettima led other council members in observing a 1-minute silence in honor of the late Army Chief. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
The Cross River State Chapter of Magistrates Association of Nigeria, NAN, has threatened to down tools should the state governor, Senator Basi Otu, fail to clear the backlog of salary arrears owed its members since 2015. The magistrates also gave the governor 7 days ultimatum to heed their demand, as failure to meet their demand will lead to the commencement of an industrial action which will disrupt court operations in the state. The association's chairman in Cross River State, Godwin Ona, gave the warning during the association's General Congress in Calabar. He said the warning became necessary following the level of insensitivity exhibited by the state government regarding the association's welfare. He urged the state governor to fulfill all state obligations for the smooth functioning of the justice system. Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reconsider the recently proposed tax reform bills, calling for it to be reviewed with a focus on unity rather than division. Mohammed, while speaking to BBC Hausa Service, also appealed to the president to halt the bill's progress and conduct wide consultations to ensure they were fair and balanced before being passed into law. This is coming as the proposals, particularly the shift of derivative-based model for distributing value-added tax, sparked strong objections from northern governors and traditional leaders, as they argue that the model would disproportionately disadvantage less industrialized regions, especially the northern states. Governor Muhammad, however, warned that the proposed tax reform would worsen the economic hardship already faced by many northern states. Abducted Catholic priest Reverend Father Thomas Oyede of Catholic Diocese Auchi in Edo State has been released after spending 11 days in captivity. According to reports, Reverend Father Oyede was released by his abductors, who were said to have dropped him along the road where he was picked by members of the diocese. Although reports could not confirm the Reverend's release, as the police and the Catholic Diocese of Auchi did not respond to messages sent to the State Police Command spokesperson SP Moses Yamu. And Reverend Father Peter, the Director of Communications, Catholic Diocese of Auchi, a social member post by the Catholic member confirmed he is released. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has urged the Nigerian Medical Association to suspend its strike action. The Kano State Governor gave the warning, saying that it could endanger the lives of over 20 million Kano residents who depend on medical services. While expressing his disappointment over the NMA's decision to strike, he urged the association to allow due process to take its course. The NMA had issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the state government to dismiss the commissioner, threatening to go on strike if the demand was not met. Ahead of the November 16 Ondo governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has confirmed that sensitive election materials will arrive in Akure by November 12. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, while addressing stakeholders at a pre-election meeting held in Akure, made the announcement, stressing that the electoral body is committed to a well-organized and credible election process. He said that all sensitive materials, including ballots and result sheets, would be delivered to the Central Bank of Nigeria, Akure branch, by early next week. According to Yakubu, the election materials will be inspected by political party representatives and other stakeholders to ensure transparency before being distributed to local governments and wards across the state. A major redeployment of top generals in the Nigerian Army is imminent, following the death of the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Turid Lagbaja. Reports gathered say President Bola Tinubu would soon pronounce the newly promoted Lieutenant General Oluyede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. This, it was learned, would be subjected to the confirmation of the Senate, after which there might be reshuffling in the Army. 3 minors detained in Borno State for allegedly participating in the #EndBadGovernance protest remain in custody despite a recent directive from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ordering their immediate release. President Tinubu's directive issued 3 days ago led to the release of minors held in Abuja, but the Borno Minors Defense Council, Barrister Yakubu Alhaji Adamu, said they are still held in a juvenile facility in Maiduguri following a court order. The minors were initially arraigned before Justice Aisha Muhammad Ali at the State High Court 10 in Maiduguri, where they pleaded not guilty, and the judge subsequently ordered their remand in a juvenile facility and adjourned the case till November 18, 2024. Salamatu Idrisa from the Borno State Ministry of Justice Public Prosecution Office said they have not yet received any formal communication regarding the minors' release. You're watching News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When News Express returns, Oyo State approves 15 billion naira for rehabilitation of Bodija, Molete and Agodi roads in Ibadan. Details of these as well as business and foreign stories coming right after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In business, the Oyo State government has committed over 15 billion naira for the rehabilitation and asphaltic improvement of the Bodija, Molete and Agodi roads in Ibadan. The State Commissioner for Public Works and Transport, Professor Daud Sango-Doyin, made the disclosure after the 12th State Executive Council meeting held in Ibadan. He shared details about the newly approved road project, emphasizing the government's focus on improving road networks in both residential neighborhoods and busy areas. Professor Sango-Doyin further explained that the decision to rehabilitate the roads aligns with Governor Seyi Makinde's commitment to improving infrastructure, especially following the January 17 explosion incident in the area. In order to improve access to reliable HIV test kits and support Nigeria's fight against the spread of HIV/AIDS, the federal government has signed a memorandum of understanding with a Chinese-based WONDFO Biotech Limited to begin local production of HIV diagnostic kits in Nigeria. Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Dr. Temitokpe Ilori, made the announcement in Abuja as one donated 4,000 HIV test kits in preparations for World AIDS Day. This partnership, according to her, is set to also encourage local manufacturing of HIV diagnostic reagents while strengthening healthcare self-sufficiency. And moving to the foreign scene, United States Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has conceded defeat following a decisive victory for the Republican candidate Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. According to a senior aide, Harris called Trump to congratulate him and discussed the importance of a peaceful transfer of power and being a president for everyone in the country. In her phone call, Harris reportedly expressed her commitment to unity, urging the country to come together. She is scheduled to deliver remarks later today in Washington, D.C., marking her first public statement since her projected loss. European auto giant Stellantis has said it would lay off 1,100 workers at its Jeep factory in Toledo, Ohio. This is in an effort to regain its competitive edge as it struggles with falling sales. Stellantis, a 14-brand group that includes Peugeot, Fiat, and Chrysler, said in a statement that it would move from a two-shift to a one-shift operation at the Toledo South Assembly Plant in 2025. It added that another 400 employees will be transferred to a third-party service provider, noting that they are difficult but necessary actions to take in order to enable the company to regain its competitive edge and eventually return production to prior levels. And running into the world of sport, Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal are preparing to part ways with Brazilian superstar Neymar, with Liverpool's Mohamed Salah and Al Nassr's Cristiano Ronaldo reportedly among their targets as potential replacements. Neymar, who joined Al Hilal for 19 million euros from Paris Saint-Germain 18 months ago, has struggled with injuries, including a recent ACL setback, which has kept him sidelined for much of his time at the club. According to report, Al Hilal's frustration is with Neymar's injury problems, which has led them to consider terminating his contract as early as January. And moving to Old Trafford, Manchester United and Chelsea are reportedly leading the race to sign Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres, with the Swedish forward enjoying a remarkable run of form, according to reports. United and Chelsea appear to be the front runners in the chase for Gyökeres, with the Telegraph suggesting that his transfer fee could drop to a bargain of £63 million next summer. Gyökeres has scored 9 goals in his last 3 appearances and boasts of a total of 23 goals in 17 games across all competitions this season, attracting the attention of top clubs across Europe. Although his release clause is higher, Sporting Lisbon is reportedly willing to negotiate a discount, making the 26-year-old an attractive option. To end News Express on Global Television, here is a quick look at some of our top stories. Defense Ministers condoles with President Tinubu over the demise of Chief of Army Staff. Secretary General of the Federation reaffirms President Tinubu's commitment to socio-economic growth. And in business, federal government signs memorandum of understanding with Chinese firm for local production of HIV diagnostic kits. On the foreign scene, Kamala Harris concedes defeat, calls for unity. And in the world of sport, Al Hilal eye Mohamed Salah and Ronaldo as Neymar's replacement. That's it on News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276 and free to air on Nikon Sat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Anthony Momodu. Thank you for watching.